Hey guys, so I'm back, and this time I'm here with a costume review. Recently CosplaySky got in contact with me and asked if they could send me a costume out to review, as previously I have reviewed their direct granite costume. That's something I do wear to Comic-Con and events. So if you want to see the review of that, the video link will be up at the end of the video and down in the description. So they let me choose from their Star Wars section which costume to review, and we decided to go for the Jedi, as this is something that my mum can wear at events as well, because she's usually our spotter, so if she wants to be in costume and join us, you know, I don't have good visibility in my Stormtrooper armour, my dad doesn't have good visibility and movement in Chewie, so we need someone to keep an eye on us. So if she wants to not just be in the normal IO uniform and be in an actual costume, this is a really good costume to do it with. Also, I know that a lot of people, when they're starting to get into Star Wars costumes, do start off with things like a Jedi, because they are the cheaper alternative to something like Stormtrooper armour, and they are a lot more comfortable. Also, I think every kid when they were young that's a Star Wars fan wanted to be a Jedi. I know I did, but then as soon as I found out that Stormtroopers were a thing that you could buy, I very quickly turned to the dark side. So this version of the costume comes with the tunic, comes with a belt, comes with a set of trousers, and comes with the brown cloak. It is currently on sale for $89.99, but normally retails for $169.99. So this is actually a really decent price for a full costume. Again, the only thing this doesn't come with is boots and a lightsaber. But CosplaySky do sell the boots as well if you're looking for a particular style of the Jedi boots. And if you want the Jedi robe but you don't want it in this colour, they do have a couple of different other colours of Jedi robe, so you don't have to go for the brown. This is just the one that we like, so we picked it. So this has already been out to a small event just to kind of see what it's like wearing it, because you never really know how a costume holds up until you spent a day in it. And Krennic did have to have a bit of sizing tweaking and add a couple of bits here and there, but for this doesn't really need a lot of tweaking at all. So first up, I'm just going to show you how it goes together so I can explain the bits that do need to be changed. So you've got a couple of different sections of this costume. So if I turn it round, you can see where it's attached. So you've got the leather belt, which just comes off via Velcro at the back, and I've just added a little bit more Velcro on this side because it just wasn't quite tight enough, so that might be something you guys have to do as well. Again, it all depends on the person's size, but this is a really nice quality belt. It's faux leather, so it's not proper leather, so it's a bit thinner, but you do have a metal belt buckle, and you also do have a little case, so if you've got a small phone or if you want to put some cards and some money in there, then you've actually got something that you can put on your actual belt. And also, before I move on, because a lot of people do ask with costumes like this, are they 501st approved? I think with CosplaySky, only their Imperial officers are 501st approved. I don't think anything else is. So if you're looking for 501st approval, you probably don't want to go for this. But if you're just looking for a costume for yourself that's of a decent quality, again, good price, and as I'm going to show you, actually quite a nice little suit. So then you've got the little fabric section of this belt that goes around the middle as well. Again, that's just Velcro around the back, so we'll just quickly take that off. And the tunic itself comes in a couple of different layers. So what you've actually got is these sort of bits of fabric that just hang down, and these just drape over your shoulders and are held together by the belt. And then this here is your actual main tunic for the costume. Now, see, this bit is kind of gives the idea that there is another little layer underneath, but it's just the fabric, so you can put it over there, and that way this costume isn't going to be too hot, because that is something Mum did say, this costume was quite warm, especially when you're standing out in the sun, because obviously you've got multiple layers of fabric. So one thing we did note, something you might have to do yourself, is sometimes when you're moving around, things do come loose, so this might actually start to open up. So one thing I was thinking, that to stop that, you can just buy little sew-on push fasteners. So if you just get a little sew-on push fastener, add one to one side, add one to the other. So when you put it on, you can just pop that shut, and you know that's not going to go anywhere. I'm also thinking of doing the same to the shoulders, because even though like you can pull these down tight and they're held on by your belt, sometimes again when you're moving around and you move your shoulders, these will actually start to come off your shoulders. That's something I'll be doing as well, just adding a couple of push fasteners. So again, you don't see it, it's not going to affect the look of the costume at all, but it's just that little bit of extra support so you know nothing's going to fall down. It's something we kind of had to do with Chewbacca's bandolier as well, because it's something that sits on the shoulder, so when you're doing a lot of movement, it starts to slip off. So for Chewie, obviously a popper wouldn't do. So Chewie actually has a strap around the middle. So it's just things that you can hide that isn't going to affect the actual look of the costume. And it's an incredibly simple fix. I had to add a couple of poppers on Krennic just to get stuff to sit properly. And that's all. But again, it all depends on your body size as well, because costumes are made to a standard size, but people are not standard size. So the actual material of this costume is kind of like this canvas fabric. It's not too thick, but the way it's sewn together does have a nice bit of weight to it on the tunic. The one thing that I always kind of criticize when it comes to like branded costumes like these is they're usually made out of a really thin, cheap, lightweight material. The best example I can think of is if you see a lot of Assassin's Creed cosplayers that buy their complete costumes. Obviously nothing wrong with buying a costume already complete, but a lot of it looks very lightweight and very cheap compared to what you see in the video game, which obviously video game texture is different to real life, but it's presented as being this heavy, thick kind of cloth, and it has a lot of weight and just a lot of different texture to it. So this actually does look nice without being heavy wool like the Jedi robes actually are. Now here we have the trousers. Now I do have a couple of CosplaySky costumes actually. As I said, I got my Krennic, and I also recently got a Tatooine version of Luke Skywalker, so when I'm doing stuff with the Land Speeder, I can wear that even though it hurts to be a rebel. So all the trousers are done kind of like a suit trouser style. So you've got the zip, you've got your button, you've got belt loop, so if you need a belt you can put it on, and you do have pockets, but obviously you got to be aware that the pockets do go quite low in the trousers, so with this it's okay because it kind of drapes down longer, it will hide that, but with Krennic and stuff, because it's a little bit higher, if I put like my phone or something in my pocket you can see the outline of it, which kind of ruins it. It's like, oh, Krennic's got his mobile phone in his pocket. That is one thing to be aware of. So the material of this is a bit thinner, so for colder days I definitely recommend wearing leggings underneath these, but for warmer days this keeps you warm enough, so that's fine. So it's basically just standard, they go all the way down, so it doesn't really matter how high your boots are, because with my Novus Imperial Officer costume, the trousers, the jodhpurs, they finish like here, so you got to make sure the boots are high enough that you don't see the laces that you got to tie up the legs with. Don't have that issue with my CosplaySky Krennic because the jodhpurs are all the way down to foot length, so it's the same with these as well, so it doesn't really matter how high your boots are. And the final item of clothing we've got is this, which is the cloak. So this is something I have emailed them about, because obviously in my reviews I will always endeavour to be honest, because you can't improve unless you're going to be honest about stuff. So this again kind of goes back to what I was previously saying about materials looking very lightweight and cheap. Now I understand this is a lot of fabric to use, so obviously if they were to change the fabric up to a more expensive one, it would increase the price of the product. But personally, again, this is just my personal opinion and taste, I do think this needs to be made of a thicker, heavier material. Again, something similar to this, because this is quite a thin, it's very shiny material as well. And it doesn't look too bad on the mannequin here, it looks proper, but when you're wearing it, it kind of doesn't sit right with the tunic. And the hood itself does have this like, it has a gnome effect when you wear it. I know that Alec Guinness's kind of did as well. He had a very pointy hood. But when it comes to, you know, seeing a costume up close, the tunic looks a lot better without the robe. So that's the only thing I would say, is if you were going to get it and you wanted a really nice robe, you probably will need to replace it because it's quite lightweight and it's quite thin, which is a shame because the rest of the costume is fantastic. But it's something I have mentioned to them, so might be something that will be changed, might not. Again, it all depends on what people are willing to spend, and honestly if you've got a small budget it will do, but it's just my personal opinion. I do think it needs to be made of something else. So that's a quick look at the CosplaySky brown version of the Jedi tunic. As I said before, they do have a couple of other colours on there. I know they've got a white one, they've got like Anakin style brown one, they've got the Obi-Wan Kenobi style one as well. So you do have choice when it comes to doing this, and they've got a load of other Star Wars characters on there as well. So take a look if you want to get a Star Wars costume for not a lot of cost, but still has a fair bit of quality to it. Now, it's one thing showing it to you in a mannequin, but to honour my small child self who wanted to be a Jedi, I'm gonna give this a go. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna see how it feels to be on the good side. Oh dear. I feel traitorous already. So there you go, I hope you enjoyed this little review. Definitely needs poppers on the top because every time you do a saber swing, these things fall down. And of course this is a little bit big for me because this is more for mum than it is for myself. So thank you very much to CosplaySky for actually sending me this and allowing me to review it. It is a really nice suit. Again, only needs a couple of tweaks, so any budding Jedi out there, check the link down below. Thanks as always to go out to my Patreon supporters, especially to Jeff Kenny and to everybody else that's on there for helping me keep this channel going. Remember, if you like what you see, please do subscribe. Now, there's one thing I do gotta say is if this channel is a little bit quiet in the next couple of weeks, I'll try and get some small videos out when I can. It's because the Republic Commando kit is now out and I'm starting work on it, and it's quite a big project, so if I do go a little bit quiet, you know why. It's because I'm working on that and I haven't quite got an episode ready to go out yet. Patrons will get access to early build videos and previews of the costume. I'll do a little behind the scenes stuff and pictures so you can see what's going on, and I'll probably upload a couple on my social media once certain episodes have gone out on this channel, so link down in the description for all those as well. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and as always, may the force be with you.